Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody and welcoming myself. Hi. My name is Sachi, aka Chibi Thought. That is my cosplay handle, and I'm a cosplay content creator. And I am so excited to be here to talk to you guys about branding and just I know that's like a big scary word sometimes, but just really about like how you can kind of just identify yourself and feel like, you wanna find something that makes you stick out and make you stand out in a content climate that we're in right now, like, there's ooh, yes, let me fix my camera. Oh, there it is. Is it better? 1 second. Sorry, guys. There we go. The autofocus, the trials of autofocus. Hello, welcome everybody. Yes. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're back. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about branding and pretty much just why not to be afraid of it, things to think about when you are making that step into branding yourself or your content or whatever it is, your art form that you do. And pretty much just some tips and tricks to help you guys out. Like it becomes this really like scary process where you start freaking out about like brand colors and names and logos and things like that. But before any of that, there's like a few key things you want to focus on, right? So, just to start out, we can do some background information about myself. Like I said, my name is Sachi. I've been cosplaying since about 2014 or so. When I started cosplaying, it still is just for fun, but it was really more of just self stuff, like I'm posting to the internet for people to see, more sharing with like other cosplayers, but it wasn't until maybe around 2016 or so where I made the decision to kind of brand myself, which like, what does that mean, right? So, like, I have the definition of brand pulled up just as background reference, and it says, by definition, a type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name, which we know that, like, the literal brand. And then an identifying mark burned on livestock, which is, of course, cattle. Then, mark with branding, assign a brand name to. So, pretty much, it's kind of just categorizing and layering everything that you do kind of under one umbrella, but the umbrella is you and what you represent and what you want to show people, what you want your community to look like and feel like and sound like, all of those good things. I went to school at the Fashion Industries of Technology. I graduated with a fashion merchandise and management degree. When from there, in comes terms of like merchandising, that's kind of where I have my background in like kind of just themes and, like I said, merchandising, which is like categorizing, it's branding, it's how can I sell this product? Who's my target market? So for you, it would be who's your community? Who's your audience? Who are you trying to capture? Who are you speaking to when you produce your content? Who are you speaking to when you stream or when you do a cosplay or whatever content, even if you're a makeup artist, whatever type of thing you do? Who is it that you want to engage with your content? Who is it that you want to receive what you're doing? And what is the message that your content is putting out? So, in terms of what I learned in school, we're doing this for product, actual clothes or a clothing brand, different retail stores, like that side of it. But it's the same thing when it comes to an individual because you have to think about these things. You have to think about your target audience, which is, like I said, who you want to target. You have to think about your core beliefs and what is it that you want people to know about you and to receive from you through your content. So I have a little spiel written up for you guys. I said, as a truly unbiased millennial, I've watched the social media climate change right before my eyes. Literally, I am 94, baby. So I've grown up on the internet and I've seen the shift from pre social media to now where content creation and social media are kind of going hand by hand, which does include visuals, it does include branding, it does include taking that step to make your content something that's brandable or sellable in a way to whoever it is you want to work with. If you're a streamer and you want to work for Logitech, how can you get Logitech to notice you? How can you stand out against the other streamers? Things like that. Understanding the benefits of the job because yes, it is a job, content creating, streaming, whatever it is a job. And if you want to make the step from just, doing it for fun and like not really worrying about numbers or analytics or working with brands, then that's totally fine. And I feel like we're in a climate where a lot of people feel like they have to go from just chilling and creating what they're creating to kind of becoming this like company brand minded person where that's all they consume and like try and put out. But it's a decision, right? So you don't have to do that. And it's not for everyone either. It's just more of if you want to make that step. And a lot of people are currently making that step now. So it may seem a bit overwhelming, like you're being pressured. I know, like, for instance, in my world, I'm a cosplayer. A lot of cosplayers have kind of stepped from just cosplaying to branching out into streaming, doing content creation in other ways, like making things for TikTok and just kind of showing what else it is that they have going on because they do want to work with certain brands. They do want to show that they're variety and they can do a whole bunch of different things, right? So why would you so it said benefits of the job, yes, it is a job, and why you would want to choose to take the step to monetize your content. That's another thing. It's not just about I'm a cosplayer today and then tomorrow now I want to be this big brand just because like we all do what we love because we love doing it and it's fun, but everyone would love to be able to monetize and make money from what you're doing so that you're able to put out more whatever it is, cosplay, content, streaming, games, whatever. You need more equipment, you're always going to need, more monetization to put back into your work so that your community can grow and you can grow and expand. That's the kind of the ringing reason why a lot of people are making that shift, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's like ingenuine in any way. I know there's like oh, it's not it's just sorry. Oh, it's just words. But I know there's like, there's kind of like a little glare people get when people start to monetize their content, and sometimes it just makes people feel like all of a sudden the things that they've been doing just becomes ingenuine because, it's sponsored by a brand or something like that. But at the end of the day, everyone really wants to eat, and I think being able to eat off of what you love doing is kind of the golden rule, especially in the content creation world, right? So no worries. So yeah, so it's like you wanna like make that step. So after you're done, the hard part is after you're done the hard part, which is, discovering your passion. You're lucky that as a creator, you know what you like to do and you know what you want to do. And a lot of people can't say that. And it kind of gives you this edge of already knowing I have this skill set and this is what I like and I've put it out there before and people like this and I already do it. So that's the hard part, right? After you've done the hard part, what it is you actually like to create, how can you grow from I just do this to this is my brand, here I am, and my name is synonymous with, whatever. If you become a comfort streamer or a FPS streamer, it's easy because you're always doing that thing. So people are going to associate you with that thing. But when it's something like variety, like cosplay or makeup, it becomes kind of how can you stand out? Like even as an FPS streamer, it's like, how can you stand out amongst all the FPS streamers? You want to be able to call your community something or have like a specific brand color, just something that you feel can build this umbrella because that's the end goal, right? It's to build the umbrella over your content. That's your brand. The brand is the umbrella. So, what to focus on? Before you think about, like I said, colors and logos and graphics and things like that, you want to think about your voice. What are your core moral values? What is it that as a creator you want to stand by? Because these things are important in the world of content creation. I know a lot of times some creators kind of just get sucked into that world and not the real worlds when social and political injustice things like that are happening. So like where do you stand? How far do you want to kind of put that out there? Like some content creators don't talk about any type of like, their religious beliefs and stuff. Some do. So do you want to, like where do you want to stand on that kind of core moral values spectrum? We've seen streamers who don't have any and where they stand, you know what I mean? And that kind of becomes their brand, this kind of like toxic aggressiveness. So as you're starting out within your content journey and basically just putting yourself out online as a person, you want to talk about like, well, you want to think about just, what type of people you want around you and how you can create that type of environment, a safe space, so to speak, for your community, whatever that looks like based on your values. Like if you want to start a club and you hate pickles, how can I get more people who hate pickles? Like, is that what you're going to talk about and things like that? Obviously, that breeds grounds for toxic people to create those type of communities, but it also breeds grounds for people who want to start a community that won't be toxic. So things like that. You got, yeah, I use the pickle reference because I feel like that's just the safest. I know a lot of people hate pickles. I'm a pickle lover, so I would not be in that group. So it said your voice, your core moral values or personal beliefs, your point of view. What is your point of view? What is it that you think is your voice? Like what's your core? You know what I mean? Like what is your core personality type? Like what is your type of essence that people are going to associate you with? Questions to ask. What feeling do I want my content to create and how I want my audience to feel? So all of this is we're just talking, right? We're discussing. When you want to sit down and really think about these things, what I suggest and what I tell people to do is just open up like a notepad. Some people prefer physical writing, or you can type it, and you ask yourself this: what feeling do I want my content to create? There's your question. You answer it with bullet points of different adjectives: warm, funny, chaotic, things like that. So see, I have cozy, upbeat, spooky. I have a friend, her name is Zero Gravity. She does a lot of horror content. And that's become her brand. Like she's the horror girl, and it's this whole combination of the vibe and colors of her stream overlay to the discuss like the content that she talks about, obviously scary movies. She talks a lot about like different like scary art, you know what I mean? Like she's found her theme and her niche, and she's able to now expand on that, especially when it comes to horror, because it's such a broad, topic. What causes are important to me? Like I said, some people don't want to put out so much um social justice-ness, for lack of a better term, into their content, and that's fine. Like you talk about what's comfortable for you, but I said, specific charities, topics of diversity, LGBTQ plus voices, the Black point of view, political views. These are things that you do want to talk about because at the end of the day, we're all people. And when you get into a certain age group of content creators, like you're going to have to deal with a lot of different people, and you're going to have to try and curate your community based on your values because it's your values. You don't want to be, for instance, me, I focus a lot on the Black point of view, especially within cosplay, because we still to this day are discriminated against in terms of being featured, in terms of getting any type of paid work or like guest appearances and stuff. Also within the gaming space, for instance, you see here the gamers has created their own kind of brand to have a community for us. So what is it that you want to focus on with your community? um For me, there's even some people I have here, like spiritual values and stuff. Like there's some streamers who, are super religious and stuff, and people flock to that if that's what they're comfortable with. So if you want to create a community, which I think as a content creator now is kind of it's kind of like the bread and butter, because you can be a content creator and never engage with your audience or your fans, and then it's kind of just this hollow. That's what I think. Then you become like the machine. You're just kind of shooting out sponsored content, you're shooting out posts, and that's it. You're turning off your phone, or you're not engaging in any way. That's I don't see any longevity in that, especially now when there's so many people doing whatever it is. There's so many people doing everything from streaming to cosplay to anything. So you want to connect with your community. So to do that, you have to curate it. You have to create a space for people to feel safe and comfortable to come and to come back consistently, because you want to retain them. You just don't want people hopping in and out. You want to be able, them to find a home within your world. um Cultivating your social creators circle. That's a tongue twister. Social creator circle. Yeah, that's a tongue twister. I can't even say it. But that's also important. Which fellow creators are you going to work with? What are their core values? How is their audience? You don't want to work with someone and then like their brand and their theme is completely opposite from yours, and you don't really know that yet, and then you work with them and that comes back to you. Now your community is looking at you like, well, I thought you believed in this, and they're advocating, so be wary of who you create with. Really get to know people. Don't just, like, oh, we both have numbers, let's share for share kind of stuff. It's that kind of creates a slippery slope, so to speak. So I said things like collaborating are great ways to help curate your content to the audience because two creators with similar voices can create magic. If I'm a cozy streamer, I would want to collaborate with fellow cozy streamers because that's the audience that's going to appreciate my type of content. I'm streaming Stardew, I'm doing like Animal Crossing, just really like comforting, like nice music. My stream is all just, it feels warm. If there's any other creators like that, you want to kind of reach out or put yourself within that circle genuinely, not just, weirdly, obviously. As again, like to remind us, we're still all human. We're still all like people. So if I'm at a club, I'm not just gonna like walk up to a group of girls because like they're cute and and like I'm cute and I'm like, hey, we're both cute. Let's, you know what I mean? Like you have to form a type of bond with a person. So but putting yourself in a space where fellow and like-minded people or people who are doing similar content to you, curating a kind of circle around them could be good because you're collaborating with people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. So that's the hard stuff. That's the personality, that's your point of view, that's like your voice, right? That's one part. As a content creator, I feel like there's about 3 parts, but the 2 main parts, your voice, and the one that we hate to discuss, visuals, your look, your image. It's important, whether you like it or not. I know a lot of people who tend to feel forced into going from I'm just creating content to becoming a content creator, feel the pressure when it comes to keeping up a certain image. And there's a balance, and there's a balance for everyone. You have to find your specific balance. Not everyone is going to care to be the person that's like putting on a full face of makeup every stream. Some people do, and that's their thing. But when it comes to an image, you do have to, whether it's the disheveled, I don't really care image, you still have to find that image and kind of hone into it to be able to consider yourself branding yourself. You know what I mean? Like, branding means it's something specific about you, your umbrella. What does your umbrella look like? There are many different aspects, but once you find your main theme or vibe, it kind of all falls into place. And this can also be hard too because it becomes overwhelming, especially now. There's so many different aesthetics, as people love to say, or themes, or just looks, vibes. Um, and you kind of go like, well, I don't know, like I don't even know like what I like. So before you can even think about like placing yourself under a category of a theme or a look, you got to figure out your personal style. And whichever one of your, like, whatever your personal style aligns with the most is where you can lean into. If you are super into, like dark literature, witchcraft, like really cool, like, spiritual stuff, and you're open to dressing like, you're more alternative, you're more edgy, you're going to know that that's the kind of look and theme you're going to fall under, that more edgy alternative side, because that's the things that you're passionate about. So the tips and the things you want to think about is how you dress and how you look when you're on camera, whether you're a host doing like hosting gigs or a commentator, working, like on camera hosts, esports talent, um, commentating and casting for tournaments, whether you're just streaming, if you're making YouTube content. At the end of the day, as a content creator, for the most part, unless you're like a writer, which is, still sometimes writers get interviewed and things like that, right? So at some point, you will be seen. You will be on camera. A lot of people, the loophole to this now is like VTubers and JPEG tubers. And I think that's really cool too, because if you're self-conscious, that becomes your brand. Like you don't have to be this, like I said, you don't have to be the full face makeup person. You don't have to be this prim, proper, perfect person to consider yourself having a look. You just have to find your look and kind of stick with it long enough for it to kind of melt into people's minds when they see something, that's, oh, like that reminds me of them. I'll use myself as an example. I love purple hair. This is like the least purple I've gone, but I've been doing the purple hair thing for a while now. So I talk about it a lot. Like I'm always using the purple hearts. That's just something like really small and stupid. And you would think, and then I'll have people like in my Discord or people tweet at me like, oh, like they'll see like a fan art of someone with purple hair, just a purple piece of clothing, and they'll tag me and things like that. Like it starts to recollect in their mind, like, oh yeah, like purple, Sachi, like, oh, she talks about that all the time. So it can be puppies, it can be food, like whatever it is, but you have to know that you're the creator, so you're literally curating your own world, like whatever it is. Everyone's favorite color in my world is red. Like if that's, you know what I mean? Like so you have the power. It's not scary because I feel like people get overwhelmed because they want it to look idealistic and perfect, but it's your look and your vibe, and it's about mastering your personal style, not anyone else's. So find a steady aesthetic and try out different ones. You're not going to know what you like until you try out a lot of different ones. Obviously you don't want to try things that you know you won't be uncomfortable with, because then that can turn you off to the whole process. I know a lot of people try something, it doesn't work once, and they kind of give up and beat themselves up about it. Especially content creators, we do love to beat ourselves up about everything just because we're working for ourselves, it's our content, so it's like who else is there to blame, right? But with everything else, you want to try out different things, and see, one, what you're most comfortable with, what you know resonates within you, and also what resonates within your audience, because there has to be a balance. You can't just, for instance, as a streamer, you can't just like play a specific game that you love but your audience absolutely hates, like everyone in your audience. I'm not saying you have to stream whatever they want, but if you're playing a game that only you love, like it's, say it's the weirdest game in the world, you want to be able to find that balance where you can make them happy while also making yourself happy. So you're not forcing yourself to play something that you don't want to play, but you're not playing something that's kind of just ignoring what your audience wants. Because at the end of the day, you need your audience, you need your community, and you want them to like what you're doing. So that's the kind of sweet spot you want to find. Um, if so I have other examples. So if your content involves anime, try stocking up on like cool different anime t-shirts and stuff, because that could kind of start to click in people's brains without it being so verbal, without it being so literal. So say I'm a anime content creator, I don't have to go around every day saying I talk about anime, I'm into anime, and I'm into, you know what I mean? Like you can say a lot of things with your style and your presence and your clothing. I did a lot of freelance fashion styling since like 2011 going forward till now. My muggle day job, I'm a showroom manager, so I am in fashion heavy. And it's like you have to kind of play dress up till you find what you think works within you, and you want to find something that talks about what you do. um Anime, like I said, I don't want to tell everyone all the time 24/7 I do anime, I love anime, da, 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 da. Like wear an anime t-shirt, and then you're out into the real world and two people are like looking at you because they see your shirt, you see, like it's this like unspoken kind of, oh, I see you seeing me seeing you, thing. And it works the same way online. Oh, I know. Oh, I muted myself on my personal channel because I thought it would cause an echo. But let's see if I unmute myself. Let me hey guys. Let me unmute myself to see if it won't. Hello? Oh, no echo. Okay, well, there you go, guys. Let me bring it back up. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So then yeah, again, you can let certain shirts speak for yourself. I come from, again, the millennial era. I'm from the hot topic era where you wear your band tees, you wear, like I feel like my age group was really big on perfect. My age group was really big on like saying what we love with our clothes, and I feel like we still do that now. But I just think that's something that you can take online with you, whether you are for instance, I'm a cosplayer. So when I'm out of cosplay, I'm still gonna, wear something that I think resonates with my content if I'm posting something, because I want people to resonate that with me. Like that's the thing. It's kind of a cat and mouse game of doing things consistently enough and genuinely enough until people go, oh yeah, I know you for that because you do it all the time. And even when you're not sitting there talking about anime, you're outside in an anime t-shirt, you know what I mean? Like you want it to mesh, and it has to be natural. It can't be forced, it can't be clout driven. Like it really has to be a natural process, and it takes a lot of time. I think now another point I want to bring up too before I go further is the timeline of content creation has spiraled out of control, in my opinion. And we see a lot of things just going viral instantly, a lot of people going viral instantly. So this idea of, if what I'm doing isn't popping off in 2 years, then I suck, or I'm not good, or I have to change my whole thing and become someone that I'm not. And that's something I really want to step away from going forward, hopefully, because I feel like we can't think like that. It really does take time to curate a good community. It really does take time to put these steps in to have something that's you want to create a genuine base, like a home base. And if you kind of just like riff-raff it, it's gonna be shaky. So don't rush, and also don't beat yourself up if in like a week you're not a viral sensation. um so yeah, it says someone seeing you in a tee in a cover photo would be a different. So when it comes back to going back to talking about like the anime t-shirt, as an anime content creator or any type of content creator, we all know that the cover photos, that one still shot, is the difference between someone clicking on your YouTube picture or not, right? So I'm making an anime video. Let's say it's a manga review. I'm gonna want to wear something that has anime on it, or something that like is just gonna make people go, without having to read the title, without anything, just having to see me wearing that shirt and click. You know what I mean? So it's literally speaking for yourself without having to say anything, without people having to really, look or read yet. It kind of draws their eye, and now they're clicking on you because now they're interested. Um, you can get super creative and experimental when you're in like certain types of content creation. For instance, I talk about makeup artists, YouTubers, variety streamers. Like, you have endless possibility to kind of experiment with your content, experiment with your look, and bring your community in for the ride too, because me trying out different looks is content as well. So it's not something that you have to kind of hide and do. Like, you can kind of bring in your community, or if this is fresh and you're starting out, then you have the kind of edge to not worry about, oh, they already saw me look this way, so I can't look this way. Like, you're new, you're fresh, you really have like a clean slate, endless possibility to try out whatever it is that you want and grow from there. If you do horror content, try looking at alternative brands or specific horror teas that would resonate with your audience. If you do anime, things like that. If you're a gamer, maybe you want to look at like merch for the game that you play all the time, or things like that. It'll help when you're creating things like cover photos, when you're posting just out of content pictures on your Instagram and your socials. It'll help with people still keeping you in mind under that umbrella that we're creating. Um, Streamers, since the majority of your content is neck up and torso, you can focus on shirts, you can focus on hats. We're trying to picture ourselves as the viewer. We're going on Twitch, we're going on the homepage, and we're seeing hundreds of thousands of streamers every day. What's going to make them click you? That's how you have to think, because and to experiment with this, when you go on Twitch as a viewer, what makes you click what you click? Like, what is it, if you don't know the person, if you never watched their content, what is it about that image? Because at the end of the day, it's an image of them that you're clicking on to see, oh, okay, I want to see more. So we can't really denounce like image doesn't matter. I know a lot of people have this like, oh, if you think about that too much, you're superficial, things like that. Like, there has to be a balance, because as a content creator that's trying to brand themselves, that's trying to monetize their content, visuals are almost 75% of it. And that sounds really bad, but it becomes a superficial world. So the balance has to stay within you, how far or not far you're willing to take it, and how you stick genuine within yourself. um the aesthetic exercise, this is something, because I know we have about 10 minutes, so this is something that I want you guys to do at home. You just get out a piece of paper, I spoke about it earlier, and you write down at least 5, no more than 10, because if you go over 10, it becomes kind of confusing. So 5 to 10 adjectives you'd like your brand to identify with, to be associated with, or described as. When I ask you, what does the gamers channel make you feel like? Or like, name 3 things about, or name 3 adjectives about the gamers channel. What are those 3 things that you want that viewer and that person to say? For me, I did it, and my adjectives were stylish, playful, satirical, and funny, because I do like to make horrible jokes. Purple, pink, cute, polished, sporadic, edgy. If you've watched any of my streams, I'm a chaotic gremlin, and it's horrible, but that's what I've become kind of known for, because one, I'm literally being myself, and two, people appreciate that it's not this kind of stuffy environment where they can tell that you as the creator aren't even comfortable in either what you're wearing or what you're doing or what you're playing or anything, what you're creating. You can get more in depth and do two separate lists, one for your personal style and your look, and one for your content. Let's say, let's use the horror example again because it's easier. I'm a horror content creator. What do I want to look like? And this is the side where I said you can check out different horror t-shirts or, horror brands, merch based stuff. What do I want my stream to look like? Which colors do I associate? More darker colors, greens, deep purples, deep reds, blacks. That's what I'm going to use when it comes to my logo, when it comes to my stream overlay and things like that. Like these colors and your visuals have to match your content pretty much. Um Cohesive consistency is a most important thing to focus on, especially as a beginner. Really, mostly as a beginner, because once you get to a certain point, we all know once a content creator gets to a certain point, they can kind of try anything and it'll stick with at least some people or they may lose some. But when you're new and you're fresh, no one knows anything, no one can like kind of connect you with anything. You have to be consistent and you have to be cohesive, which means your look and your visuals and your image has to match the content and the voice. The voice is what we spoke about earlier, which is you curating your community based on your moral values, your point of view. If you're an LGBTQ plus streamer, you want your community to know that and feel comfortable within that space. Like I know that's something that they're positive towards, and that's something that they're trying to like resonate with. So why would you not, if you're looking for charities, things like that. um Want to make sure you guys get everything. It said the other end, besides the image and the voice, is the nitty gritty marketing stuff. So that's what we spoke about earlier that I said I would leave for the end, because you have to get your voice and your image first before you think about what's my logo, what's my, even your handle. I know a lot of people, especially if you're a streamer, you kind of use whatever like play tag, gamer tag name that you've used, or your PSN name, things like that. But if you're a cozy streamer, maybe you want to have a name that sounds more cozy. And a little quick exercise I always tell people when they're picking their names is kind of use thesaurus.com. Use thesaurus.com for everything, but use thesaurus.com to find different adjectives, things that you can kind of mesh into your name, play around with it. Like that's just a fun self experiment. No one can really tell you how to name yourself. No one can really tell you how to, like, no one can tell you your look. Like you have to kind of mold that look for it to be genuine and for it to work. So when you get to the nitty gritty, after the voice and after the image, that's when you talk about brand color, specific lighting within your stream setup, your hair color, your logo color, your Twitch layout. You utilize these colors in your graphics, your assets, your clothing, any photos that you use. Just again, it's about resignation. It's about seeing, red and yellow and people automatically going, "Oh, that looks like McDonald's." Like it's all color theory and branding, but it really is just kind of human nature and consistency. And that was it. But I feel like the most important exercise when it comes to these things is the aesthetic exercise. Like I said, get down a piece of paper, even if you have to ask other people to kind of get a temperature to see how you will come off now before you make any changes. So you can tweet like, "Hey guys, if you were to describe my stream right now in 2 words, what would it be?" See what they say. See if it's, kind of, if anything, if things look cohesive, if you're getting kind of the same vibe in each tweet, then you know that you're on the right track and maybe you don't have to change so much. If you're getting stuff that's all over the place, that can be fine, because like I said, one of mine was really sporadic. I'm very extreme variety. So it's like, if that's the case and you're getting a lot of differences, notice what they are. If they're complete opposites, then maybe you want to kind of choose one to hone into, and that's where you want to go. If someone's saying that you're super loud and then someone's saying that you're quiet, maybe that may be little off. So watch back your videos. Always look back at your videos of the days, kind of get a hold of yourself, because it's hard to tell people. I know you can get into marketing, you get into branding and stuff, but it's really hard to tell people how to be themselves, because as a content creator, unless you're creating a character, it's hard to say like, well, you should do this, this, and this, and then this will work, because something that's going to work for someone else is not always going to work for you. And the only way you can know what's going to work for you is if you try it out and test it with your audience, because at the end of the day, your curated audience is who you're doing it for, not society. I know someone earlier asked me, what are your thoughts on VTubing and how that's changed the streaming landscape? I think it's a mixture, you know? I think it's really cool that people don't have to show themselves on camera. I know a lot of the times, and I mean a lot of the times, I don't press that go live button, and this is not just me. I've seen a lot of people say this is just the thought of being on camera sometimes it's a lot. Like you come home from work, you have to look a certain way, or even if you don't want to, you don't have to, but it's like, you know, sometimes you're more comfortable off the camera. So that VTubing and that like JPEG or PNG tuber, I believe it's called, where it's just like the flat image, the 2D thing. I think it's cool. I think it's opening up a new kind of lane for more people to go live and stream and make video content. Image and society have always been hand in hand, so it's not gonna be a comfortable conversation for everyone. Some people really do have, like, certain insecurities, or they know that their content on a society scale won't be received the way that they want to. So if they can become a VTuber or become a PNG tuber or whatever, I think that that creates like a whole nice little lane for them, and it gets their content out, right? And then you find these people that you're hearing and you're listening to them talking without the bias of knowing what they really look like, and you get to just engage with their content better. There's no bias. I feel like obviously as humans, we all have that visual image bias sometimes. And I like that the VTubing thing has kind of like created this level playing field where it's like, okay, well, now I can just create my own avatar and do it. And it opens up a lane for people who don't have cameras, things like that. Like it's just, it's nice, I think. I notice a lot of like YouTubers are doing that now when they're making the really long style commentary videos. And I think it's cool. It's also less editing. But I believe I have maybe about 5 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, I would love to hear them. I'm so sorry I rambled. I'm a rambler. Okay, yeah, making sure I covered everything. Oh, yes. Okay, no problem. Yeah, yeah. Whatever questions guys have. And also you can always find me on my Twitter at ChibiThought with a zero, or my Instagram as well. And all my links are my link tree for everything. So if you want to join my Discord and ask questions there, you can as well. I'm always open to giving general advice again because I can't tell you how to be you. I can just help you guide yourself through the use of these exercises, the questions. What is it that you need to ask yourself? What is it that you need to focus on? So, if there's a takeaway from this, focus on your voice, what you're saying, what your content is saying. Focus on your look, what it looks like, what your content looks like, which means you have to rewatch it. I know I hate the sound of my own voice. I hate rewatching my stuff, but that's the only way I get better. And then you focus on the nitty-gritty. Make sure it matches. Voice, image as one. Those are your takeaways. But thank you all so much for joining us.